So good evening. This is part 2 on the current information to clear up a lot of disinformation about Libya. So here we get to this Libya public opinion sample, which I showed at the beginning of the last presentation, which shows there's clear opposition to the Libya intervention in all quarters. All countries oppose more than they favor the Libya intervention, which should give you an idea of what internal Libyan sympathies are as well, because there's that big a trend line. So at any rate, now we get to our conclusions. So I'm going to take the stage here for a moment as best as I can and talk about conclusions. So the conclusion is that the story of Libya is a story in which the West and Qatar armed the Libyan Islamic fighting group, one of whose key members was the much touted number 2 kill in Pakistan recently, Ali, the Libyan. We kill Al Qaeda in Pakistan and allow them to spread through Africa and Syria. Then we can embrace those African leaders threatened by Al Qaeda of the Maghreb, or to topple them, because they're destabilized already. This is a story that does not need to even pick up the issue of whether LIFG has legitimacy, until the Western leaders publicly explain why they are fueling Islamist insurgencies in enemy states and killing them in client states, treating them as pawns, treating Al Qaeda as a pawn, manufacturing constant recruits through killing family members all over the Arab world. And if any of the stereotypes about Arabs are correct, killing hundreds of young fighting age men all over the world for becoming sympathetic to militant causes is a good way to keep the people in the military justified and the national security state justified. And I happen to have been studying the Department of Homeland Security as the lowest morale of almost any other department in the government other than the Securities and Exchange Commission. And the Homeland Security, you can just lard out money. I saw, when I was looking into government internet stimulus, the people who had easy money without many questions asked compared to the other programs was the DHS, from what I heard. Gaddafi had already surrendered his weapons of mass destruction. Back in 2003, he eliminated his chemical and nuclear stocks, and he paid billions in compensation for Lockerbie. Commercial ties were expanding. The economy was growing 10% from I only have one source on that economic growth. I usually like to have double-sourced. Everything I state should be double-sourced. I'm not telling you how to put these facts together. I leave you to do that. I am not exactly certain myself. Was it poor scholarship and warning not to underestimate Gaddafi's support levels? That is, were our leaders disinformed, given shoddy information? Or for the potential for blowback? Because this is leading to a hardening of a Russia-China entente to combat American influence, because America has no influence in actual landlocked Asia other than Afghanistan. So Iran and Syria are both threats to them of America consolidating a foothold into Asia through Southwest Asia. Which reminds me of almost 1984, warring across these sort of third world belts of instability. The E7 are noticing, which is Brazil, Russia, India, China, combined with Indonesia, Mexico, Turkey, that this term is being applied to them. They're becoming self-aware, and they will probably collaborate closely. Was it Obama administration hawkishness and craving a cheap and easy victory by plunging a dagger into the backside of a dying Gaddafi? Rich plunder for no fighting. Libya has $8 trillion in assets, 6 to 10, a lot of it in oil, gold, and an ice age ocean of fresh water under the desert, which might be more valuable than the oil eventually. Was it ignorance, or as Dennis Kucinich said, international gangsterism? Or was it worth it? Will what follows justify the savage means of obtaining it? Normally, the end does not justify the means. So who benefits from all the chaos that this conflict ushered in? What evidence do we have about the motivations? Libya was one of 7 countries selected for attack by the U.S. after 9/11, according to General Wesley Clark. Gaddafi had insulted and infuriated Sarkozi and the Arab League. And look up Gaddafi's 10 insults to the world. There's a good video of that, which I have on my site as well. The SF Free Radio Libya Research Alexandru site. Gadaffi-ist Libya could have exploited and influenced Tunisian and Egyptian revolutions adversely to U.S. interests. So Egypt is on the east side of Libya, and Tunisia is on the west side. So it lies between 2 countries that were going through the Arab Spring, the main 2. And that is a major issue. This could have been the thinking that it would be adverse to U.S. interests to have a country that's sort of a magnet of a socialism anchored between 2 countries going through rebellion. So instead we incited the Islamists there, armed the Islamists. This could have been the thinking, that we needed to overthrow Gaddafi with any means necessary once we had the uprising in force. And the U.S. has been looking for a base in Africa and been up till now basically unable to get one for their AFRICOM to combat Chinese access to raw materials. Africa is not in the U.S. sphere of influence at this time. Not technically in terms of military assistance.